Finally, a dish popularized in Chinese restaurants throughout the United States, sweet and sour pork, prepared by Chef Randy Page, assisted by Anisette Benson.
The meat that we're using today is pork butt, which comes from the shoulder. And we've taken the blade bone out and we've cut the meat into half-inch cubes. And we're just going to marinate it for a little while in a little soy sauce and rice wine. Just pour those in and mix it up good, just enough to coat the meat. Let this sit for at least 3 hours. We're going to set this aside because we have some marinated meat. If you would hand me that, and I'll give you this. We have some meat that has been marinating for 3 hours. And we're going to take a bowl. And what we're going to do with this dish, we're actually going to very quickly deep fry the pork in a wok that we have some peanut oil heated to a very high temperature. Take a little bit of cornstarch and just sprinkle it over the meat. This is going to give us a nice, crisp, delicate little crust. Kind of like a breading, very light. Set that aside. We're just going to mix this up. We're going to take the meat and very carefully drop it into our heated oil.
Chef, in a case where someone would be allergic to peanut oil, what would you be able to use as a substitute?
You could certainly use canola oil. Any type of vegetable oil will do. The reason we use peanut oil is because it does work very well at high temperatures. It has what we call a very high smoke point. It's really good for deep frying. And this is going to take a few minutes. Why don't you work on some of the garnishes that we're going to use for our dish. And what we're going to make is some green onion or scallion flowers. And we're just going to take a paring knife and cut very thin strips through the onion. And when Anisette's finished doing that, we like to soak those in a little dish of ice water, which is going to really make the ends curl up, very much like this one, which we did a little bit earlier. This has been soaking for about an hour, and it makes the onion really open up and curl back. Really beautiful garnish, very simple to make. Now, what we're going to also do now is make our sauce for the sweet and sour pork. We have some brown sugar. We have a little bit of rice wine vinegar, as well as some rice wine. We're going to use pineapple juice as nice sweetness. This is the sweet part, as well as the sugar. And a little bit of ketchup. It's going to give it that distinctive red color, a little bit of body that we expect from sweet and sour pork. We'll stir that up, and we'll also add just a little bit of freshly milled sea salt. We'll set the sauce aside. We have a bowl lined with paper towels that we're going to drain the deep fried pork in. Now, we're not necessarily looking for this meat to brown. We just want it to cook through, and we want it to form a little bit of crust on the outside that's going to keep it nice and tender and juicy. And we have accomplished that. I'm going to take it out and let it drain just a little bit in paper towels. Soak out the excess fat. Our pork's done, our sauce is done. We're ready to go to the wok and stir fry and finish our dish. And we're going to have just a little bit of oil. Put it in the bottom of the wok. I want to let it get really, really hot. Let's add the carrots and the onions and pepper to the wok. Make sure the wok's really hot so that when we put these cold items in it, it'll cool down. We want it to come back up to a very hot temperature very quickly. Woks are great pans to cook with, but you don't have to go out and buy one to make this dish. You can certainly use a saute pan or a frying pan. You can just toss those around just a little bit. Now our pork's already done. So what we really want to do here is just cook our vegetables a little bit, but we want to keep them fairly crisp. We don't really want to cook them that much. Let's let it sit just a little bit so it can cook. Don't have to stir it constantly. Now that our vegetables have softened up just a little bit, we're going to go ahead and add our pork. It's already done. We're just going to heat it back up a little bit and combine it well with our vegetables. We also want to add our sauce. Pour that right down the side. We're just going to let it set and come to a boil, which should happen very quickly. While we're waiting on our sauce to boil, the way we're going to thicken our sauce is with a little bit of cornstarch. We have to dissolve the cornstarch in a little bit of water, just enough to dissolve it well. We want to make sure there's no lumps. And we call this mixture of cornstarch and water a slurry. We're going to add just enough of this cornstarch just to give it the consistency we want. And if you want to stir while I add this in a sec. That's going to thicken up very quickly. A very nice, rich, shiny sauce. We just want it thick enough so it'll coat our dish. Last of all, we're going to take this off the heat. We're going to go ahead and toss in our pineapple. Pineapple is, if we really don't want to cook it, maybe just warm it through. So we have a little bit of white rice. We've just molded in a little cup. Just place right there in front of the rice. We're going to garnish our dish with some green onion, a little on the plate, a little on top of the rice. We have a few toasted sesame seeds. We want to have one of Anisette's beautiful onion flowers. That will place right there. And just to make it a little more authentic, chopsticks. There we go, Anisette. Our version of Cantonese sweet and sour pork.